Hello and welcome to another episode of Between the Covers. Thank you everybody for joining. If you're watching live or if you're watching on the replay, please do just tap the screen, show us some love, share this out, let us know where you're watching from and what your name is. Again, this is a very interactive show, so please do feel free to throw up your questions. So if you're watching for the first time, who am I? My name is Daniela Bleckner. I am an author, book journey mentor, founder of a company called Conscious Dreams Publishing. We work with authors from all over the world to help them to get their powerful messages and stories out there in the form of books, some of which you can see on my bookshelf behind me here. Just checking that I am on the right. And here you go. Yes, so you are watching Between the Covers. What is this show about and why is it called Between the Covers? Between the Covers is about getting up close and personal and really understanding the journey of what it takes to actually create a book. Sometimes I interview authors, whether they're published through Conscious Dreams Publishing or whether they've published traditionally or DIY. And sometimes I interview people from the film industry, the book publishing industry. So today I have two awesome and amazing guests. I am going to turn down the music so we can really just savor that moment and find out who they are. So I'm not just interviewing one person today, I'm interviewing two people. First one is Vinna. She is a passionate social entrepreneur with a diverse background in tech, community building, events and business, and the founder of CURLYTREATS Festival. If you don't know what CURLYTREATS Festival is, you need to stay tuned to find out. I'm also going to be speaking with Vanessa. So Vanessa LaRose and Vinna Andall-Best. Vanessa LaRose is the founder of Book and Culture, which is an online specialist book service. She is an event organizer catering, can't speak today, to African and Caribbean literature and artisan crafts. So I'm going to invite them into the broadcast right now, and you can throw up your questions and get involved. Again, if you are watching, please do share this out with your network. Hello, how are you doing?
Hi, good evening.
Nice to see you. Hello. This is the first time I'm actually meeting you online, both, or the first time I'm meeting you at all. Online. Well, Vinna, I know I've met you before, Vanessa. So yeah, it's lovely to have you on the show. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you for welcoming us.
I gave you a bit of an introduction, but I'd like you actually to introduce yourselves to my lovely network.
Brilliant. Well, my name is Andall-Best and I started CURLYTREATS in 2013. It started off as an event to support Black women and girls through their hair journey. But throughout the years, I think it's really important to take feedback. And through that, the event has grown into 7 micro events as one festival as well. I've known Danny for quite a while online actually, but we've never met in person. So I'm looking forward to meeting you in person as well. So the event consists of 7 main events. The School of Afro Hair, which is talks focused on Afro hair care and maintenance. The Museum of Afro Hair, which has nice displays of Afro hair, as well as workshops such as how to braid your hair, how to head wrap, the heritage of African hair, and also sip, paint and wind your ways as well. We have additional workshops as well, events I should say. One of our new events is called AfroEats Village, which is the outdoor space within the festival where we will be celebrating African and Caribbean cuisine. So I'm really, really excited about that as well. Throughout the years, one of the key things that people have been very interested in is their wellness. So we have a space called Black Wellness Advancement. And in that space, we have meditation, sound healing, yoga, and soca dancing as well.
Wow.
Since 2013, we have been one of the earlier events that have adopted and supported and promoted small Black-owned businesses. So we have a Black business marketplace called the Culture of Black Business Marketplace. We also have a section called the Black Maternal Well-being Check-in. So that section has been created based on the disparities that have been affecting Black mothers across the UK. And so we'll be working with healthcare professionals that will be talking about mental health, postnatal depression, breastfeeding, everything from when a woman becomes pregnant to after birth as well. It's also a space to bring the babies. And lastly, but not least, Vanessa and I have been working together for a number of events, and this is the third time we are bringing back the Black British Book Fair to the festival as well. So yes, I'm really, really excited.
Wow, amazing. You've answered all my questions, so I'm just going to go. No, that's brilliant. There's so much in there. I want to kind of break that down and talk about all the different aspects. So thank you so much for that. Is it Vinna?
Vinna. I'm quite fancy, but Vinna's fine.
You know, when you only see something written, it's not until someone actually says their name you actually realise. So thank you so much. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Vanessa, I know that you did work at New Beacon Books. I know that you stock some of our books as well, and you have set up your own organisation called Book and Culture, and you've teamed up with Curly Treats as part of the Black British Festival, Black Book Festival Fair. You tell me. Black Book Fair at Curly Treats. Tell us a little bit about you and Book and Culture Festival.
So my name is Vanessa LaRose, as you said, and I started my kind of book selling journey back in 2016/17, and that was with my husband's family's bookshop called New Beacon Books. At the time, they were looking at closing down, and I really felt that I could get involved and prevent that from happening. So I had a really intense few years there, really getting myself involved in the literary world, renovated the shop, did a crowd fund, got them online, renegotiated all of the deals to make the shop a little bit more viable and a little bit more competitive, because there are people out there that want Black literature, but at the time they wasn't utilizing all the technologies that were available to them. They were still kind of stuck in the dark ages. So that was a real learning experience for myself. And throughout that, I organized some mini black markets within the shop space to, again, attract PR and get people to come. And at the time, I didn't realize that that was the kind of spearhead for Book and Culture, which is why I have the book element and the culture element. It was an amalgamation of that market.
Can I just say one thing, that because I remember when the whole crowdfunding thing came out around New Beacon Books, and that's kind of what drew my attention to it. And if you're watching now, or if you're watching on the replay, Vanessa was the whole engineer behind, getting that you've done. Honestly, you did an amazing job.
Well, hold on. Sorry, I need to enter a caveat here, because the crowdfund I did was in 2017. And that was for, I think we asked for £10,000 and we raised 12, and then I cut it off. The more recent crowdfund that people may have seen, which was for £80,000 and £90,000, had nothing to do with me. I'd already left by then. So I don't want people to conflict the two, because at the time when I was involved, it was very much, we had members of the community come in and help to renovate the shop. And I specifically stopped the crowdfund at the amount we got to, because I felt like at some point you have to stand on your own 2 feet.
Yeah.
You can't expect just give. So I like to make that kind of.
Do you know what the funny thing is? I didn't actually know about the other crowdfund. I was actually talking about the original one. I didn't know there was another one.
I didn't know about it too.
I had no idea about that one. But that's how I knew about New Beacon Books, because of what you did back in 2017. So kudos to you. You did a great job.
Yeah. So since then, Book and Culture developed, utilizing the fact that I had done these mini black markets, and I brought in other members of the community who sold other, whether it was cards, children's clothes or whatever, brought them into the space so that we was all able to benefit from people coming into the shop. And that's basically where Book and Culture was born. Since then, I've gone on to work with a number of notable authors like Akala, Jimmy Farawima, sorry if I get his name wrong, just a plethora of people being their official booksellers. And then a couple of years ago, I reached out to Vinna. I'd attended Curly Treats before when it was Natural Hair Week back in the day. So I was very familiar with her and said, let's do this, because there is a thirst for Black literature. And I think sometimes we need to work together to get the job done, as opposed to trying to work in silo. It makes the job a lot more difficult. So since then, we've gone on to really work well together. I mean, it's been a blessing.
Amazing. Thank you. I think, as you said, collaborations are so important because so often we work, you know, individually or with common goals on similar ideas. And it's just the importance of coming together and making something and creating something that's tangible.
Yeah.
So, Vinna, this is hold on, let me do some quick maths here. 13 years you've been going, is that right? So since 2013?
It's a little bit longer. So
Yes.
if we didn't have the pandemic, it would have been year 10, but the pandemic put a little bit of a blip. So this is the 9th annual festival this year. So next year will be 10 years.
Wow, big 10 next year.
Planning
on adding another pillar to, or what? Sorry, let's get this one done first. I'm interested to see what your plans for the 10th anniversary.
We're just trying to get past this one first.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
So, but I will say this: the 10th year will be spectacular. Even though we haven't started to think about it yet, it's going to be spectacular because it's the 10th year. So,
amazing. That's what we want to hear. So Dapan Box says, she is the one behind the new Beacon bookstore. Work back then. What a great example of pivoting with #book and culture. Thank you. So if you've just tuned in, I'm Daniela Bleckner, speaking with the awesome and amazing Vinna, founder of Curly Treats, and Vanessa, founder of Book and Culture. They've teamed up together to work on Curly Treats' 9th year in Hammersmith. And you were speaking about what the event entails. But first of all, just give me a sense of like what inspired you to set it up in the first place, and what are your values behind Curly Treats?
So I've been natural most of my life. I originally went back to having naturally curly hair when I was a teenager in the 90s. There was a lack of products at the time. So I would use pink moisturizer and also Do Magic. The problem was though, pink moisturizer, they changed their formula. And I was like, oh my gosh, what do I do? So between like my teenage years to the age of like 25, I yo-yoed from natural to relaxed. And then when I was in my early 20s, YouTube came out and I was just like, oh, this is great. There are people like me that exist, because I didn't really have anyone around me that had like natural hair. The women that had natural hair, they were doing the locks at the time in the 90s and early 2000s. And I was just like, okay, this is great. But where are the people in real life? Because a lot of the women that I noticed had natural hair online, they were based in America. And so I'm like, okay, I'm a people person. I like to connect with people. It would be good to find out where they exist in real life, in person in the UK. I went to several events at the time that these events existed. They still exist now, but at the time that they existed, they were literally a marketplace that sold any and everything from relaxers to wigs to weaves to skin bleaching. Even though I feel like people can make a choice of what they wanted to use, I felt like there wasn't a space for someone like me at the time. And I also wondered, was there other women like me and other people like me that wanted and yearned to learn about how to look after their natural hair, how to maintain it, who are the experts, where are the products? Because if we're being really real, and I'm always really real, we didn't grow up looking after our natural hair, because we were told as people of African ancestry that everything that looks like us is not pretty. So we were used to perming our hair at a young age, or used to having hairstyles that we were told were acceptable in society. Even now you see the wonderful works of people like World Afro Day, who are still doing the work so that the natural hair that grows out of our hair, of our scalp, is acceptable. So there's a lot of work to do, but I thought, okay, if I'm gonna speak about something or moan about it, I didn't like to moan for a long time. So I'm like, what's the solution? And that's how the event originally began.
Amazing. Thank you. I think that's so powerful as well. As you see, I grew up with natural hair. You know, I was one of the kids who was not allowed to have their hair relaxed. So you're mad. Any kind of chemical, no. So I had the big afro. The only thing I was allowed was a jerry curl. Still something. You know, that jerry curl, Michael Jackson style, that never grew past a certain length. I'll never forget it. But I recently worked with a 9-year-old girl, and she actually wrote this book. I'll show you. My Afro Twin Best Friend, which has done incredibly well. She wrote that when she was 7. She's been on the Kelly Clarkson show. She's been on BBC, Channel 5, ITV, all these different, Good Morning America, talking about it. And she's from Croydon, 7-year-old from Croydon, and she wrote it because when she says, when I was young, so when she was 5 or 6, somebody in her class, made a mean comment about her, an ignorant comment about her hair, being the one child with an afro with her hair out in her class. And after that, she just never wore her hair out again. And so she wrote the book to empower other young Black girls to love their natural hair and to embrace who they are. And I think, do you think things are changing now? And do you think, yeah?
I definitely think things are changing. So, for example, like I've met people just walking down the street and they're like, my daughter's come to your event every year and now she loves her hair. She knows how to braid. She knows how to twist her hair. So like you are one of the few that weren't allowed to perm your hair. And I actually had cousins who had the same parents like that. And to us at the time, it was odd. We were just like, you're not allowed to perm your hair, like just as much as you're not allowed to watch TV. What's that all about? Do you know what I mean? But at the same time, I feel like there's so much representation via the media, like the mass media, not just like local media, that women and also children are sporting their natural hair with pride as well. And what's been beneficial is that people of different races, different ethnicities, they're now sporting their curly hair when they didn't think about it at all. The Black women, we really have been the trendsetters and the trailblazers for a long time. And it's great to see that people are enjoying who they naturally are.
That's beautiful. Thank you. And again, like events like this is so important. I've got 2 comments here. Dapendex says, I hope I pronounced that correct. Really looking forward to the Curly Treats show. I first came across it around the pandemic and said, yeah, I'm going to go to that one this year. Well done, Vinna. If you are watching, whether you're watching LinkedIn, YouTube or Facebook, the link to Curly Treats is in the comments at the top, in the post at the top. I'm also going to pop it in the comments as well. I've got another comment here from Red Oxdale. I think this is my partner. He says, as a now middle-aged Black man, I've only recently changed my hair oil, not because I wanted to, but because I couldn't find it anymore in any head shop. I love what you said.
The beautiful thing that he's just said is that he couldn't find it before. And that's another thing, is like there wasn't that marketing or opportunities for Black men as well to find products dedicated, not just for the top of their head, but also for their beard, like beard care. And now it's a thing, and it's a big thing, and it's a great thing as well. So we're living in a time where there is more inclusivity when it comes to hair care and beauty.
Amazing. So Red Oxtail, maybe you need to get yourself down to Curly Treats and see if you can find any good products there for you, and then maybe grow that beard as well. So what can we expect in terms of exhibitions and people selling products and workshops? I know you spoke a bit about it at the beginning, but if you could just give a sense of what to expect in terms of vendors.
Yes. Well, in terms of vendors, I work with several types of vendors. Majority of them are small businesses and they are Black owned. The reason why I made that space from the very, very beginning when I created the events is because there was a lack of opportunities for them. Like we've got all this new technology for them, but they might not necessarily have the budget to market. So I make sure that the prices are affordable for them so that they can set up and vendor and sell to their target audience on the day as well. And those range from hair and beauty, from books, accessories, stationery, health and wellness, fashion. So there's a combination of vendors from different types of industries as well. One thing that's really important is the fact that a lot of the times when we go into shops, it's harder for Black small businesses to get their products into the shops. And so for them being at the event, people who come can find out about newer products that they never knew existed. And so they are able to not only buy new products, but the small businesses are able to find new customers that they can reach out to in the future. I'm an advocate, and I'm a big advocate for data. So I always say to people, once you connect with someone, exchange information, exchange email addresses, and see how you can connect with your customer in the future, or connect with them and see how we can work together. And that's how Vanessa and I end up working together.
Amazing. So it's all about collaborations. Thank you. I've got some comments now. Laurie says, proud member, looking forward to next month's event. Awesome. Red Oxal's another question here. Do Curly Treats have anything for ingrowing facial hair? Shaving is now becoming don't worry, I'll have a word with him later. My partner.
Well, first of all, thank you to Lorenzo for that comment. That's my twin cousin, actually.
Oh, hello, Lorenzo.
Well. And Red Ox, so there will be companies there who are selling selling products to do with hair care and maintenance as well. And they are not just selling, but they're experts in their field. So when you come, have a chat with them, they're willing to not only sell the product, but most importantly, give you the best advice to help you on your hair care journey.
Amazing. And that's so important as well. Like you said, it's not just about selling the product, it's about creating relationships with the customers and education. So often we might buy things and not really be educated about why we're buying it and how it actually helps us. So I love that aspect of the festival as well. Marva is saying, look at these three dynamic women coming together. Hey.
Hey, Marva.
Hope you're coming. I think Marva's got is going to be there as well with her books. Will you be there, Marva? Let us know. And if you do want to attend, Red Oxel says brilliant, thank you. If you do want to attend, the website is here, www.curlytreats.uk. Get your free tickets today. You're coming as a punter. Oh, awesome. I know there are also paid workshops as well. So before we kind of delve into that a little bit, I just want to speak to Vanessa about some of the books and some of the workshops or panel discussions you'll be doing in terms of your pillar books.
So this year, we made a concerted effort to decide to focus on independent self-published authors, because in the industry, what we're recognizing is there is, yes, number one, a lack of diversity within the literature space, but there is also a lack of promotional opportunities for those said authors. So for example, even if a major publisher does decide to take on an author of color, because maybe they've got pressures from higher up the ladder, they're not actually putting the full marketing budget and that real strategy behind promoting and selling that book, which doesn't make any sense. And I hear it time and time again from authors that I'm in connection with. So this time around, we felt it was really important to give a stage to independent authors who have gone out and done it themselves, to share their experiences, to share the inspirations behind their stories, and give advice to any aspiring authors. So we've got a number of different sessions ranging from Black historical facts. We've got a session that's based around, again, inspiration and what led people to write their particular types of book. We've got a panel including you on self-publishing versus mainstream publishing. We've got another section which is based on, God, what is it based on? I can't remember. The fifth section.
Self-care?
No, I remember that one. It's the one before.
Amplifying voices, is it?
No, it's not that one.
It's in conversation.
Yes, it's that one.
There's so many. There's so many.
There's a book called, I'll give you a hint. There's a book which I'm very looking forward to reading, which is Black Girl Not Magic. Do you maybe want to take it?
Look on the bookshelf.
Yeah, I know it's behind me. Right. Oh my God. Yes, writing for social change. I was trying to remember the heading.
The title, yeah.
Not so much the book, because I know it's there. It's right there. But writing for social change. So that's where Kimberly McIntosh, who is the author, she's going to be talking to us about her experiences in the world, whether it be corporately or professionally, and just the expectations on a Black woman. And sometimes, because there's this saying now, black girl magic, and how difficult or not difficult is that to achieve. Our last session is based around self-care, because as black women, it's kind of an inbred thing that we just keep going. We're going and going and going, and we don't stop to take care of ourselves. It's almost like a recent phenomenon that people are, you know, finding out that actually we do have to stop. We do have to meditate. We do have to journal. We do have to take some time for ourselves. So the last session is really dedicated to how people can find that space for themselves, just feel a little bit better about themselves without feeling guilty, as we always do.
I need that one.
And who's hosting it?
Myself in.
And Vanessa, who's hosting the talks?
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. We've got a fabulous host, Zainab Kwa Swansea, and she was one of our panelists last year. She's an amazing young author. She's part of the Jacaranda family. You know, she wrote a book based on her experiences, again, like we've just mentioned, about having an afro in the workplace and how that's kind of affected her life, and just her social commentary on things, you know, whether it be on social media or current affairs. So she's going to be our fabulous host. She's going to be in conversation with some of our authors, and just generally that go between asking questions from the audience and to our panel members.
Amazing. Honestly, you've got so much. This is 2 days, right?
1 day. So
One
what
day.
it is we've got a pre-festival on the Friday, which is called the AfroEats Village, and that's only the AfroEats Village.
Yeah.
And the reason why we've done that is because the event is actually happening in the heart of Hammersmith. So it's literally 2 minutes away from the main Hammersmith transport link, like the bus station and the tube. And where it's situated is where there's loads of colleges, schools and corporate offices. So because it's the beginning of Black History Month, we wanted to make sure we done a pre-festival so that people who are walking by, the corporates, the schools and the colleges and universities, can come and enjoy African and Caribbean food on that Friday. But the main event is actually on the Saturday, 7th of October from 10 a.m. till 7 p.m.
Okay, great. I know my mum went last year and she's been going on about AfroEats. I think she's already booked her tickets for that. So, so the main day is Saturday, the 7th. You've got jam-packed workshops, and that's just in the book section. So just highlighting here, the host is Zainab Kwa Swansea. I hope I have said that right. We have Rhoda, who is our editor. She's going to be on the panel, and she is, I hadn't realized you were Dappendix box. Hey, there's the book. She says, how do you select the books to feature? Did you get to read them all?
Oh, good question, Vanessa.
It's a very difficult one, and sometimes I've got a whole pile of books that I get sent that I don't have an opportunity to read.
Same.
Sometimes I have to go by the blurb and read the first few pages to see if it really grabs me and if it's worth investing in. Because as a bookseller, as I'm sure Danny can attest to, you get sent loads of things. You get, you know, new submissions and new advanced copies and new, you know, proof, this and that. So it's really, sometimes it's quite, it's intuitive sometimes. And also because we had selected the sessions that we wanted to focus on, when I read through some of the blurbs and a few of the pages, I was like, it's this one. It's this one. And one thing I can say about my own book selection when I'm doing, you know, stalls or events, I get a really good response from the selection of books that I have. And it's just something that I'm drawn to. And I look at what's going on in society and try and pick out books that kind of reflect that, and also what my customers want. You know, like for example, I really want to find more books for mixed race children because that is the demand, but they're really, really difficult to find. And I think some people don't realize that as a bookseller, I can only sell what's there. I can't make it appear. So I always try to be a little bit responsive and try to actively find what my customers want, but it's not always possible. So it's an amalgamation of things.
I think that could be really, really hard. So because one of the reasons behind Curly Treats is because my family is very diverse as well. And so I have nieces who are like half black, half Chinese, half black, half Indian, half black, half Serbian. And the thing is, the term mixed race is such a broad term that it doesn't really say who a person is. And that's like even the word black, like mixed race people are the monolith. And sometimes there's some mixed race people who aren't even black and white or black, anything black. Do you know what I mean? As the same as black people, we're not a monolith too as well. And I think one of the key things that I do is we're in the world right now where we can advocate for ourselves. So if there is anyone who's looking at this live and you feel like there's a book that doesn't relate to you, you can create that book.
Right.
Danny can help you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Exactly. That's 100% right. And I have said this to a few parents. I think with children's books specifically, though, it's not necessarily about pinpointing, well, one parent's black or one parent's white. It's that visual representation.
Exactly.
That you've got that illustration that you know that this child isn't black or isn't white, but the text doesn't necessarily say they're from this community. But it's something that a parent can give to their child and say, oh, that child looks a little bit like you.
Exactly.
You know, it's like we want to see ourselves so that we know anything is possible, and that doesn't exist as much. So
that makes sense.
I want to jump in there. That's a huge part of why I do what I do. Obviously, we publish people from all over the world. But as a kid, like I said, big afro, big feet, gappy teeth. It didn't look like everyone else in my school, in primary school at that time. I loved reading, but the absence, and it's also subconscious, the absence of our image is what causes the damage, because it's a subconscious thing that tells you don't matter, your story doesn't matter, you don't need to be seen. And so you stop being seen. And it's why I love working with especially young black authors who are just writing books. Like this girl, for her, it's normal. She's like, oh, I'm working on I've got at least 6 novels to write, you know, and the other young black girls are watching her going, yeah, it's not even a thing of like, oh, I can't do it. They're talking about, I am doing it, you know, and it's just such a different thing. And to talk about books that feature, you know, children of mixed heritage, I am actually writing a book. I don't know if you've seen, I'm not going to talk about it for too long because I'm going to sound like an absolute nutcase, but I have had a white pigeon that's been visiting me every day for 4 months.
I've been on that journey with you from day one.
From day one.
And I was like, I didn't know how the pigeon made itself inside.
It's going to itself through the window.
On your heads.
We're going to have to do. I'm going to actually do a Facebook Live on Monday at 6 o'clock to discuss all of this. So tune in. And it left just before we started the interview. It was here earlier on. But I've decided to write a book featuring this pigeon, but it's about an unlikely relationship or friendship, between a young girl after she loses her dad. I lost my dad in 2020, and the pigeon turned up when I put the picture of my dad on the windowsill. And obviously, my dad was white. And my mom's from Jamaica, and it's without having to say this story is about a mixed race girl. It's, you see the visual representation of the picture of the dad and how the mum looks. And you know, as a young person, if I would have seen that, it kind of clicks something in your brain that it's not even really words for it. It's just a subconscious thing. You're drawn to people that look like you or stories that represent you, and it gives you a sense of, you know, I'm part of literature. You know. I can and I think events like this are so important.
I think that's wonderful what you're doing. It's like I was a sponsor of the youngest author from Cape Verde in the UK, and her name's Lauren, and she released a book about her parents separating during the pandemic as well. And so I really love what you said, because it's not necessarily saying it, but it's actually the visual representation for children as well. Yeah,
exactly. And this is what, you know, this event does, you know, from hair to books to our health and wellness, because again, this could go on for so much longer, but I recently saw those images of I can't remember the name of the guy, but he'd done the artwork of a black woman and not giving birth, but the fetus in the womb.
Yes.
And I could not stop staring at it. It was, again, it's a subconscious thing. I was like, that is beautiful. And suddenly something felt possible. I don't know what it was, because you just never see that, do you? You just don't. It's always pink.
It was so beautiful because I think a lot of us didn't even realize that we had never seen it until we saw it.
Yeah.
And then we're just like, wow, we automatically, if we're not in the medical industry in that particular department or that field, we would have thought, okay, these things exist. But then to find out they don't exist, you're just like, wow, this is the reason why there are disparities for Black women and for women of color. And that's the reason why we created the Black maternal wellness space as well, as a safe space for them.
If you're watching, are you hearing this brilliance? There's no reason for you not to have booked your ticket by now. Obviously, when we finish this live. We've got some questions. Sharon is one of our authors. She says, looking forward to the event. Look at that beautiful picture. Her book is called Blossom Tree, one of my earlier authors in 2017 fiction book. Marva says, yay for champion independent authors. Okay, we've done that question. Vanessa is the truth. One of the first to offer me support and advice. In fact, all three of you have supported me in my journey as an independent author, and I appreciate your kindness. Oh, bless you. That's Marva Carty, author of the Mango series.
Yes, she's amazing.
Oh. And there's quite a few. So all right, that is true. I was surprised by the number of parents and grandparents of mixed race children, but buy my books. Amazing. Oh, here we go. My mum's on. Yes, mum is looking forward to her jollof rice and chicken event. Hello.
We look forward to welcoming you, Yvonne.
Oh, Bernard here, another author from the USA. Representation matters. Are you coming down? Come on, just book that plane. It's not that far, Byron.
It's good time.
Well, do you know what? I've already overwhelmed you with asking you what you're doing for your 10th anniversary. I was going to go and push it even further and say, are you thinking about going over to the US or branching out? But we'll leave that for another time.
Some things get revealed in time, right?
Yes. So I can't believe it's actually 7:45. I've got so many more questions, but can you both just, for anyone who's watching and thinking, oh, shall I book my ticket or shall I just maybe lie in bed? It's 10 till 7. It's the whole day. Just give them, 2 reasons why they should come to this event and just book it right after we finish this live.
Okay, here we go. Let me see if I can really do 2 reasons and not 1,000, because really there's 1,000 reasons why you should attend, but I'll give you 2. Tickets, there's paid for tickets and there's free tickets. People are able to choose based on their interest and based on their income. The free events is the AfroEats Marketplace and also the Culture of Black Business Marketplace. The book fair is free, and also the Black Maternal Well-being space is free. The paid for spaces are the workshops and talks. So for example, we've got the book fair talks, we've got the workshops on Afro Hair, we've got the School of Afro Hair, and then we've got the wellness activities. Those are all the paid sessions. One of the key things is that our event is about community, connection, creativity, and togetherness as well. We want to empower one like each other. As much as we uplift you all, by you coming, you uplift us and you give us a reason to keep going and keep creating events. I know that was about 5 reasons, but I'll just hush now.
Well, that was awesome. Thank you. That's like an advert there, right there. So much. Thank you. Vanessa. Oh, Vanessa's frozen. Oh, I don't know if it's frozen your end, but
Vanessa's frozen on my end as well.
Okay. So if you're watching, please do throw up any last questions that you have. I'm going to throw up the website again for you. It's www.curlytreats.uk, and it's in Hammersmith, West London, from 10 a.m. till 7 p.m. You can come anytime, but if you want to make complete use of it, just come at 10 a.m. There's going to be vendors, there's going to be stalls, there's 7 7 pillars, all in the post.
In two locations near 2 minutes away from each other. So the main location is Novotel, West London, and the second location is 245 Hammersmith. Those are all in the same vicinity of each other and are literally 2 minutes walk from Hammersmith Broadway train station and bus station.
Amazing, thank you. And finally, how can people connect with you on social media?
Oh, unless it's work, I'm barely on social media. But if you do want to connect with me, you can go to Curly Treats UK on Instagram. On everything else, it's Curly Treats Fest. So rather than Curly Treats Festival, it's Fest. So that's CURLYTE. Oh, my spelling is Curly Treats, Curly Treats. Where's my spelling going at this time of night?
Oh, I had it, but I've just...
There you go.
Semicolon, it's an L. Curly Treats UK at Curly Treats Fest.
Say bye, Danny.
We're going to hop over to Instagram just for a quick 5 to 10 minute interview, just to say hello to our Instagram followers. We don't want them missing out. You've had us live. You've had them live. We're going to give them a taste of Vinna and Vanessa live. Feel free to pop over, say hello there. But otherwise, I won't see you next week because there's no show next week, taking a bit of a break. See you on the 5th of October, 7 p.m. GMT, 2 p.m. EST. Thank you so much for joining. I've been Daniela Bleckner, speaking with the amazing, this is where you say your names,
Vinna
and
Vanessa.
Yay! All right, see you later, everyone. Have a beautiful, beautiful evening. Bye.
Bye.